All right, so I wanted to make you guys a quick video about how to most efficiently do the two worksheets that are due this week. We have a binomial worksheet and a normal worksheet. And if you go through the videos, a lot of my videos go through how to do these calculations by hand. For the binomial, using a really gross formula, either with the combinations calculation or using factorials, which is even worse. And for normal, I have you move through z-scores and then use an antiquated table. So first off, I want to point out that these things are now available to you if you really wanted an antiquated table or those formula sheets that I have been talking about. I'll move to student view so you can see how it would look. If you go to the modules area, I have added the formula sheet, hopefully. Yep, so you got formula, oh no, the formula sheet's here at the top. So you can actually see the formula sheet that I reference. My plan is to break that down into each of these parts. I just haven't done that, as you can see. But you do have the formula sheet there. The other thing that you should have available is this tables, which also probably needs some love. But for now, you can at least find, oh, I did it right, yes. You got the normal table that I reference, and then there's going to be a t-table that we'll be using later, as well as a chi-squared table. So you have all of the tables that I talk about as well. So anyways, you should not be using tables. I am going to show you how to do everything with technology because we're not stuck in a classroom without that available to us. Also, we're not stuck on a desert island without technology. So we're going to be using technology instead. And we won't be using the formula for the binomial or moving through z-scores in a normal table for the normal distribution. If you do that, I'm going to yell at you. I'll still give you full points, but I'm not going to be pleased. So for this first exercise, this is the last question of the binomial piece. I don't think I have a video for it up, at least as part of the practice quizzes. You'll see that we're talking about a 35% chance and we have 12 fatalities. So we have a given P and an N, right? We have a number of fatalities that we're going to be randomly selecting, and then we have a probability of them involving an alcohol or intoxicated driver, right? Alcohol impaired or intoxicated driver. So we have a bunch of questions that come next. Find the probability of exactly fine, find the probability of at least 2. Obviously, we could use the formula with the binomial here, but I'm going to show you how to do this a little differently. If you go to StatCrunch and log in, I'll use my own. You're going to want to open StatCrunch because we're going to be using one of the features within StatCrunch. So we're going to open StatCrunch. It'll give you your plain, sad, empty data set, but we don't need that. If you go to, my goodness, Stat, there are calculators built in to do all of the different distributions that exist in statistics. We don't cover many of these, but we do cover, as we said, the binomial and the normal. So for your binomial worksheet, you can see it asks you, what's your N? So if we're doing this question here, our N was 12. Okay. What's your probability of success? Your P. And so in this case, the proportion of those things that ended up with the traffic accidents that were caused by an alcohol impaired or intoxicated driver was 35%. And then it asks, which do you want? Are you looking for a less than or equal to, a greater than or equal to, a less than, a greater than, or an equal to? So the very first question just said equal to 5. So you can see your probability there. And it even gives you a cute little graph so you can see what's going on. And it really, really hammers home the idea of what it is we're finding, this probability. So in terms of the worksheet, the work that I would require from you on a question like this is literally just writing down this notation. The probability X is equal to 5. I don't need to see a formula. If you are using StatCrunch, just say StatCrunch. The important thing is that you're reading carefully for what direction we should be using here in your binomial. So that's really the key here. Same thing with our normal distribution. We start moving into that direction for the second worksheet of this week. Again, you're going to calculator and normal. And then you can tell it whether we're dealing with, it starts with standard. So if you have but if you have between two values, you can do that as well. And you just put in the mean and standard deviation for whatever thing you're working on. So if we have a test where the mean was 70 and the standard deviation was 6.5, we could see what the chances are of scoring less than a 60. It'll give you the drawing that I want you to put on your paper, and it will give you the actual value. And you can change this to a greater than. So there's easy to do, nice visualizations. This is what you should be working with. This is what you should be using on tests. The nice thing is this calculator also does your inverse. So if you wanted to know, what score would I have needed on this exam to put me in the 90th percentile? Oops, I need to put that in as a decimal. If you put in the percent here, the probability, and press compute, it'll give you what the value was. So a 78 on that test would have put you in the 90th percentile. If I want to know, what was the top 5% of students? What did they do? I would start with 0.05 because that's 5% and be like, oops, that's the bottom 5. Let me change this. I need to change this again. It auto-fixed it for me. Boom. Now the drawing looks right. So you have all of this available to you. You can even add in the little tick marks so you can see what one standard deviation looks like, but you don't need those. It's really up to you whether you want it to be on like a regular standard thing or if you want to have the empirical rule with 1, 2, and 3 standard deviations. But I just wanted to make that available to you. You have that. That's how I would be doing both those worksheets. I will try to add that to the formula sheet area or a StatCrunch help area so that you guys have that available to you.